this intro.
What's up, faithful? Welcome to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and Niner Lady Dina. It is Wednesday, June 11th. What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up? Doing good.
How you doing?
Oh, exactly right.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's Wednesday. We're going to talk a little Niners mini camp. School is officially out for summer. Today was their last day of practice. I think they have like a family thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so starting off with the injuries, as I like to do, before each show, instead of naming all of the injuries,
keep it positive.
Show.
Jess is going to list all the injuries, and we're going to be like, "Yep, okay," and then we're going to be like, "All right, let's go to the 2-minute warning." And
exactly.
See you next week,
show everybody, and thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So instead of naming all the injuries, I'm just going to say they are all going to be back by training camp, except Malik Mustafa, Brandon Ayuk, Curtis Robinson, and Curtis Rourke.
Yep. As expected.
So what are your thoughts, Maddie, on Michael Williams hamstring, Alfred Collins calf, Ricky Pearsall hamstring? What are your thoughts on all that?
It's funny you ask me those questions because I happen to have a conversation today with a friend of mine who happens to be a very long time diehard Patriots fan. So, and the reason I say that is I want to just make sure that everyone understands that this is completely like not in the loop of our information. And he wanted to tell me about it. He was listening to a fitness podcast about a week ago. He's going to send me the link later. I got to find it. And they were like ranking training staffs around the league. And the 49ers, based on the way they were doing this, were a D-. They basically, like, I think, I can't remember what one of the injuries, I guess the way they got McCaffrey back from his Achilles stuff was actually pretty impressive. And they were just like, wow, the patella thing was just bum luck. Like, what are you going to do with that? But other than that, like, they gave them whatever. And like, there were a bunch of other teams around the league and you'd be like, oh, wow, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. You know, it was based on a bunch of different factors and it's all, whatever. But there's really only been one fairly healthy season two fairly healthy seasons, 2019, 2023.
Yep.
And even in each of those seasons, injuries plucked up at the absolute worst possible times, right? Like in 2019 for like the D Ford stuff was never helpful, right? That really came up at a bad time, right? And then of course, Dre Greenlaw in the Super Bowl, right? Like what at what point, like, does this, what is that a problem? Is it there's got to be a common denominator, right? Like, are they really just saying, you know what, we're going to get guys that constantly have muscle pulls? I mean, shout out Jacob Cowing as an example for getting all these reps while Ricky Pearsall's hurt, by the way. And I guess Jacob Cowing phenomenal. Well, wow, it's weird. As Ty has always said, it's amazing what happens when you let a guy play, right? It's a stunning turn of events. Shocking. Put me on the floor and give me a gnat that some of these younger guys could develop into better players if you actually played them. And in this case, you give them reps and OTAs and you basically run them, and as long as their muscles stay good, like, they're just going to keep running and keep running and keep running and keep running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about OTA stuff. A lot of these guys from college, like, they need to get on it, right? And some of them haven't been on it. They have not been on any sort of, like, I don't think they've been on any sort of like pro program, pro regiment. And if they have been on any sort of regiment, it's probably completely different from what the 49ers do. But I really, 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 truly, truly, blessedly hope they look at this next off season when they're, doing their honest self-assessments, which they seem to do every year. And I think we all agree, like whether we usually agree with a lot of their honest self-assessments, right? They don't always do the right things to fix the things the way they did it, right? Like we don't always agree with that, but we usually all kind of agree on the common points and, whoever they're supposed to go after and how they're supposed to go after them. But I hope that's something they look at next off season, because that just seems to be a huge man hours lost. Like if I were Jed York, I would be pissed about that. I would be pissed about that because I am spending a lot of money for guys to hang out with my physical therapists, and they're probably creating some better relationships with them sometimes than some of the coaching staff, right?
Yep.
I feel like they cleaned house not too long ago.
But did they
Exactly.
clean it? You know what I mean? Like, remember the Nick
They did
Sorensen
something.
thing?
Yeah.
You remember the Nick Sorensen thing? Oh, well, they got Steve Wilkes was the problem, right?
Hired from within, that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
They cleaned out the
right.
staff and just hired from within?
Yeah.
Could be.
You know what I
don't know.
mean? Like, was there a holdover that, like, I don't know. I'm not any sort of, I have not done any sort of research into this. This was completely like, and this is somebody I've been talking sports with since 1992. So like, it was not like, this is my Cowboys fan friend trying to rile me up. You know what I mean? Like, this is my completely unbiased, like, hey, just a heads up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go looking for it so I can find some more details about it. It's just weird that you started off with that tonight, Jess, because we don't, guys, we don't just to kind of peel back the curtain, just to send out some show rundown, unless we've got a guest coming on and it's, hey, this is what time the guest is on. Like, there's no like preset whatever, right? Like,
nobody prepares but myself.
Dina's not coming in on some mean hot take, right? That she's already pre-scheduled and got talking points for, and Ty doesn't have that, and I don't have that. Jess just throws out the questions and we answer them, right? And like in this case, that's kind of what's been going on. So yeah, that's a major concern for me, because at the end of the day, we can do all the damn things in one. We can go to the candy store and we can pick out all the candy, but if at the end of the day it rots our teeth by the end of the summer, it wasn't that great of a summer, was it? Right?
Nope.
Like, so let's make sure all the holes in the boat are filled before we go back out on the ocean, is really what I would like to say to everyone out there.
Well, that seems to be what they're doing, though.
Yeah, and I hope
reportedly,
so.
there's a lot of guys who could have practiced that are there, but they're held them out, and they're saying, "Hey, this is not the time we actually need you on the field."
Yeah.
We're just hang back, heal up a whole lot more, and we'll see you at training camp, and that's when we really need you.
Yeah.
So they're being smart with a lot of players, which I approve of. Because, OTAs is OTAs. It's not training camp. So you definitely want to hold those guys out when you can.
McNiner wants to know who's our strength and conditioning coaches. I don't know them. I just know the team nutritionist. That's about it.
And we know they're putting the good stuff out there. Also, if they want to have a cheat day, like they get to go to In-N-Out Burger. Like, come on, give me a break. Like...
Or they have some Chick-fil-A.
Right. Well, not on Sundays or not, but like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
But actually when they travel, they have Chick-fil-A.
Oh, that's
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Huh.
Travel on Fridays and Saturdays, so there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, fun
Chick-fil-A
fact.
stop.
I'd rather have a Dungeness crab and some butter.
Ooh, hard pass for me. I'm gonna see
Instant protein.
I like Jack in the Box when I go out for like a 49ers game. Like, that's
I've never
usually
had
pretty
Jack
good.
in the Box.
Me either.
They're usually really good with any of the delivery places. They're usually right on there, and like a lot of times you'll get something free or whatever. But yeah,
Is that is there one?
Yeah,
close
and
to,
also their
Santa Clara?
breakfast. Yeah, and their breakfasts are fantastic. So yeah,
Huh.
100%.
Gonna have to try it.
Okay.
Just as a heads up.
Rob D says D-. How are they gonna get BA back from his torn 3CL?
Very cautiously.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Very
they got
cautiously.
CMC back, right? But how much of that is CMC versus the training staff? You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Oh, it's a lot, CMC.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
know him.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he
So-
seems to have changed up his stuff from like I'm Mike Allstott Jr. to a little more flexibility based as well. You know what I mean? Like
Gotta
Pocket-
train differently when you get older.
pocket
Yeah.
Allstott. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, but yeah, but Ty, as you've seen, Justice Dina's seen, we've all seen it, right? Some of these guys don't. They're just, I'm gonna keep training
Yeah.
the same way. I'm
They're
gonna
stuck
go
in their
out.
ways. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go lift. I'm gonna go lift stumps and chase chickens. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that's just what they do. So,
That's their way of conditioning,
Yeah.
you know.
yep.
Dina, what are your
100%.
thoughts?
I'm just grateful to like I said, I haven't really heard of anything too much,
Same.
but except for some positive things coming out of it. Williams, and like I said, the guy we got from the Eagles, Huff, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just heard some positive things about them and that they're really kicking butt at the OTAs. I just want to make sure that they still have that momentum when they go into training camp and further, and that nothing happens. Shh. That
That's
nothing
right.
really
no
happens.
wardrobe malfunctions. There we go.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no uniform malfunctions. That's the way to put it. Yeah.
And nothing really happens though. But so
Right.
far, I mean, they look great. And there was something that came up on my feed, on my Facebook feed the other day. A friend of mine sent me of Mac Jones throwing
Mhm.
and said, "Gee, this guy almost looks like Purdy." I'm like,
I don't know about that.
yeah, and I'm like,
Pump the
I
brakes.
said, give it a rest. Not happening. Give
There's
it a rest. Not happening.
there's a major difference between Purdy and Jones, and it's something that you will see if Jones ever gets into a game. And I don't know if anybody, I'm sure a lot of you saw like the tweets about OTAs today. Mac Jones has a really hard time layering the ball in between coverage and getting it over the top of linebackers or safeties who might be cheating up or whatever and dropping it
Yep.
into a spot. He has a tendency to throw it on a straight line or really not have any arc on it, whereas
Yep.
Purdy can kind of touch that thing in there and get that thing over there, even
Right.
though he's not as tall as Jones and he probably doesn't have as good of an arm as Jones, but he's better at getting the ball where it needs to be, right?
You got better touch.
Yeah.
Kind of that Steve DeBerg, Joe Montana sort of thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in this case, like Mac Jones is this year's Sam Darnold. He's not coming in here. If Brock Purdy gets hurt, our season's not over. Okay. It's not, oh, damn, that's it. Trade everybody, blow the whole thing up, light everything on fire. And
Yeah, there's a
and
little bit of hope there,
dump it
you
in-
know?
dump it in the bag,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they can still
Yeah.
make a run. Like, is
But
he
I
better
wouldn't
than-
make that,
Is he
you know.
is he better than Prime Jimmy?
Don't get me started.
Under
So,
Kyle,
who?
you know,
Mac
like,
Jones.
you know, maybe not, right? Maybe we don't.
No.
Maybe we take out
Mm.
those plays that we need to float in between coverage, right? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on that one.
Get those out of there.
But first
But-
and foremost, I just want to say happy birthday to my favorite, the all-time.
The
He's
GOAT.
my goat. I don't care what nobody says. He's my goat. Joe Montana.
Joe Cool.
And yeah, I still should have been Mrs. Montana, but well, he hasn't
Sorry.
asked me yet.
I can't believe you finished second to his wife in that shaving cream.
I
commercial.
know.
Like if you had just beat her out, like
Oh,
You know?
damn it. Damn it.
I don't get, but you know, I just want to give him a shout out, say happy birthday, Joe. I love you. Yeah, he's still number one in my book.
Yeah, he'll be
He's-
the big 70 next year.
He's number one in
Yeah.
a lot of people's books. Still.
Yeah.
So Crazy Juice says that Jed York really doesn't care. I disagree with that. If he didn't care about the organization, we would be in hell.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was definitely
Put
some
it
moments where there's some
honestly.
apathy shown, but like I've looked around the league. It could be worse, guys.
Yeah.
Like it could be so much worse, and they do a lot of good things, and nobody ever leaves and says, "Wow, that damn." The only person who has ever complained about this organization is Devondre Campbell, right? So that's
guy who
what we
quit,
got
yeah.
here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'm gonna put like
Hmm.
1,300
Hmm.
players and Devondre Campbell like against each
Right.
other, and we'll just
I still can't believe that happened last year.
Crazy.
I
that
know.
just that, and it's so funny that you mentioned that, Jess, because it like our season last year was so hot garbage that like that was such a shitstorm, and like we are still like, oh wow, I totally forgot that happened last year, right? A guy just basically quit. He just said to hell with it. I'm done. No thanks. Don't put me back in. Like
It's crazy.
I'm surprised he didn't Antonio Brown off the field. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he had to be
Yeah.
kicked off because he was pouting. So 47 Red came out and was like, "Get the F out of here."
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Mhm.
Nah, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Jess and Sin in that we disagree with Crazy Horse's statement that Jed doesn't care. I think Jed, first of all, we've seen that he does care because the amount of time he puts into the team and what he's done and been willing to do. You don't need to talk about it. It's there. You can see it in plain sight. But I think he
Mhm.
gets a bad rap just because of his dad and the way his dad ran the team before him. And it was very business minded and business regimented. It wasn't so much about football and winning football. So there's a lot of fan carryover from that. And they think Jed is the same way. And if you look at him, really, he's kind of turning more and more into Uncle Eddie as
Yeah.
he grows into this thing, right? Because remember, he was just thrown in feet first, even though he worked his way up through the organization. But he is growing more and more into that Uncle Eddie type of leadership role from the top. So let's sit back and give, Jed credit where credit is due.
Crazy Juice says that's the second time someone called me Crazy Horse.
love it.
Terradome said you're ugly as a horse, so I don't know.
Crazy.
Hey, blame Terradome. He's in the chat. Go get him.
Crazy Horse Juice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that sounds like
there-
it could be like a weird IPA up here.
Yeah. That sounds
Didn't
like
he
a
have
main
drink or
thing.
something? Yeah.
McNiner says James Richard Garoppolo used to throw an interception to a linebacker, then smile about it and say in the presser, "We need to execute."
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
a guy. What
it
a
was
guy.
never. It was never his fault, Jimmy.
Oh
G.
no. And that smile, sometimes I it's just like, stop smiling. It's not funny. It's not cute.
Tanner Mordecai to me is like, I don't know, like an alternate reality Mike Morosky, right? Like we're living is like kind of proof we're living in a simulation. And it was like, okay, I need 2 third-string quarterbacks with names, go. And it was like Mike Morosky and like bam, like right there, right? Like right on
That's
cue.
a good analogy.
Absolutely crazy. Like, and this team finds the same guys decade after decade after decade, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's insanity.
Yes, Terradome. Crazy Horse was a mobile liquor. I knew I was got it from somewhere.
Yes.
I was more of a Mad
back in the
Dog
day.
2020 sort of
We old
person
people gotta
myself.
stick together.
So Mad Dog 2020 and Boone's Farm. Thank you.
Yes.
That
Oh my
was
God.
my
yes. That takes me back.
stuff.
Wow, you guys are really dating yourselves.
Oh, hey, there's no shame
I
in the
mean-
game.
I read a lot. I read a lot.
Survive.
I read the old scriptures.
We
Called the old
survived.
scriptures. No.
So Sin wants to know if we heard that T.O. was off to the side talking to BA with Frank Gore and another one of the four greats, one of our
Really?
greats. Yeah, I saw on T.O.'s Instagram that he also took a picture with his son Tariq. So I kind of, obviously saw that he was hanging around, but that's pretty cool. Glad
Okay.
T.O. was
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right, Tia.
Terradome Crazy Horse was in there with the Mad Dog 2020 in
Oh,
Old English.
That OE 800.
oh,
yeah.
St. Ides. Oh, God.
Yikes.
Yeesh.
I only know St. Ides because Ice Cube said they were giving ends. So that's all I remember from them.
All right, so Bryce Huff,
Hmm.
Big Trent, says he's a speed demon off the edge. Kyle Shanahan, fastest get off since D Ford.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that, Dina?
I agree from what I've seen of him. I'm surprised, but I agree. The guy has some speed. And I saw a few little blurbs with him playing, and I was kind of shocked at his moves. And I think he's going to be a complete force. If everything works out. But yeah, he's going to be a complete force from what I've seen. How the speed is there. I was amazed. I was really amazed at that. And it reminded me of like a young, I don't want to say young, but like an early Fred Warner with that kind of speed, that get up and go. He's there before you know it. He's like right there. And I think that's really going to be an asset for us. I don't care what the pigeons say. That's an asset for us. So I'm glad. I hope he can keep that speed up because that's what we need. And we need that fast presence right there. Bang, there you go. Before anybody blinks, he's there. And I love it. I love it. And I want to see that momentum again carry over into the preseason and the regular season. So that's my take on it. I love
There
it.
you go.
Ty, what do you think?
Yeah. We know he's got speed off the edge. We know he could bend that edge, and the team's been looking for that ever since D Ford left. They've tried to draft a Drake Jackson or Robert Bill Jr., bring in other guys, the Randy Gregory's, the guy that could fit that role, but never really found that individual. And now Robert Saleh brings in a guy that he's had hands-on experience with, right? A guy that has all those measurables. So, hey, everyone who was looking for that D Ford replacement, here you go. They got a guy. I think he has more power than Ford. So he can rush from the outside. I think he can go inside and rush from there too. Give guards fits. And I also love that he has a high motor. He's not just a, try to get to the quarterback and quit kind of guy, which we've seen from other players that we've brought in.
Yeah.
He's a guy that will keep going. Like if the quarterback scrambles out, he's coming with the backside pursuit. There's no, let me just stay here and watch. He's going after the guy. That's what I really love, because we know we got some quarterbacks that can squirt and move and somehow get away, where you want to keep that pursuit going. He's an individual that'll do that. So I'm loving to see what he'll bring and how Saleh will use him, because I know he knows how to use him, and we know he knows how to put players in the right position to be successful. And with all that talent we got, the young talent we got on the line right now, he should find a lot of success.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he was at the Bryce Huff was at the podium today, and he was asked, what he likes about Robert Sala's defense, and he specifically said it's the way he likes to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he said other things too, but that resonated with me because it's like he's ready to go. He already, showed what he can do under Robert Saleh. He wasn't used the right way in Philly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Maddie, thoughts?
I didn't
You
eat
first,
dinner,
Maddie.
so I was just like snacking down, and I was like, "Oh, Jess got a great point here. She's flowing." Then she's like, "What do you think, Maddie?" And I'm like,
Well,
"Damn it." Anyway,
short and sweet as usual.
yeah, well, I mean, a lot of guys like just don't fit in different systems, right? Sometimes roles change, injuries change things. He might have been in Philly. Maybe they wanted him to do more read and react stuff versus just pin your ears back and go get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clearly, Robert Saleh has unlocked something in him, and it was good enough. Like, we see this all the time with the 49ers, right? Samson Ebukam.
yeah.
Who was the guy? Jordan Elliott keeps coming back. There was
Charles Omenihu.
Charles Omenihu. Like, they do really well with us for a year. They get a contract.
Yeah.
And then they go somewhere else, right? And sometimes they come back, right? That happens a lot of the time too.
Kerry Hyder Jr.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he had 8.5 sacks or something, and then goes to Seattle, and almost a mirror image of this. And then he comes back, and then he comes back here and plays fine. And it's like, oh, okay, like that happens. Sometimes coaches just. We all see it in our workplace, right? We've all been on teams before where like a certain employee is way better working for a different manager than another manager. It's just how it works. So it's kind of the same thing. It's, he's better in that scenario. Like, I keep seeing this post online, and it makes so much sense. And like, it really is a night and day difference. Like having Saleh back, as opposed to, everybody. Like, DeMeco Ryans was good, but I still don't think he Robert Saleh. I don't know, right? Like, it remains to be seen. They're their own guys, right? Different systems, different whatevers.
Yeah.
But then everything else that's happened since, like, it's just, I don't know, just that turning the stability button on when he showed up. To me, even though he could get a head coaching job next year, just as quickly as anything. Like, I don't know, it seems like it really injected a major bit of energy into this team that they desperately needed, and then they used that to momentumize what they did for roster turnover and salary cap turnover and everything else. So with the draft and everything, so I'm excited to see, as I say, as I used to say in A-Team, I love it when a plan comes together, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm interested to see how this whole thing's wrapping up in OTAs, and having a successful OTA with no one, getting injured, no one having any, getting any sort of anything, and like guys getting quality reps, right? Jacob Cowing maybe finding some confidence. Jacob Cowing could very easily be the next Juwan Jennings, right? There's absolutely nothing that says he can't at least be that. Right? Like, yeah, they're different players, but like they can still do kind of the same sort of career trajectory. So I'm excited. If this team can start really nailing the player development, I mean, nailing it, like it, and start turning it into an art form. This is how it's going to be. Like, there's just going to be these retoolings. It's not going to be, we got to tear this out and tear that out. They'll just move their pillars somewhere else. Like,
yeah.
So hopefully this is the start / continuation of that, right?
So Terradome says he's going to do a biomechanic analysis breakdown of Bryce Huff and Usain Bolt and their starts off the line. Some similarities there. Yeah, I'd like to see that. McNiner says Saleh should stay with us for a few years and wait for the right opportunity. I wonder how long he's actually going to stay with us. I mean, I don't like looking into the future, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I hope he's around for a while.
Yeah.
Makes
So
you
do
wonder
I.
what sort of things could come open, and like, was he really serious about taking the Jaguars job? Did he really want to go to another owner that isn't like
Isn't with it to be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So today, Maddie brought up Jacob Cowing. He seems to be doing awesome. Granted, they are not wearing pads. They're in t-shirt and shorts. But he's catching the ball. Brock Purdy's thrown to him a lot. So he seems to be coming into his own. And then another one who isn't a surprise, running back Isaac Guerendo.
Yeah.
CMC was limited today. A lot of guys were limited. They want everyone to be fresh. But Isaac Guerendo was out there, and he seems to be, a force, or going to be a force, in this offense. Ty, your thoughts on Jacob Cowing and Isaac Guerendo? Because I know you had mentioned, that these are your guys.
These are my guys. 2 young guys with all the physical traits that can, do explosive things within this offense. We saw just glimmers of it last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just want to expound on that. And the key to OTAs is to forget the physical stuff. This is all about learning. This is school right here. I just said it earlier. It's the last day of school. This is school. This is all about learning, installs, read and react, knowing your plays. And those guys getting reps and learning, through actual reps is huge.
Right.
So, and we saw last year with those 2 guys specifically, it was more about them knowing what to do on the field and how to do it, right? It's Jacob Cowing running a route with the right timing, not just going out there and running full speed from the get-go. There's a timing to it. Same with Isaac Guerendo, being patient, hitting the hole when it's, you're supposed to hit the A gap, not being patient and try to bounce to the C gap. No. That hole's going to open up. Just let it happen. And so for them to get these valuable reps, I think will be huge going forward. It gives them a boost of confidence, some momentum going into training camp, where they can really shine and show what they can do. So I'm excited for those guys specifically. I'm a huge Jacob Cowing fan. I want to see him on the field. So sky's the limit, baby. They just got to keep it up.
Dina?
Yeah, I am a Isaac Guerendo fan. And after seeing him last time, he has so much potential, growth potential, to expound on what he has been doing. And I know he can do a lot more. And like Ty said, it's that patience. But that guy just surprised me last year. I was just like, whoa, who is this? Oh, stuff, look at it. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. And it's like, oh, okay. And I'm happy. I want to see him back because I know there is so much potential in that young man and so much grit. And he can maneuver. And I think I know he will be an asset and a great addition. Having him in there because he knows he's learning the plays. And like you said, having reps, doing reps is important. And having him in there doing those reps, sky's the limit. With both of them, the sky's the limit. I'm really super excited, and I'd love to see Guerendo move. I just love to watch him move. It's just so graceful, but yet tactful.
Yeah, he's been working out with Frank Gore.
Okay,
And one of the
that explains it.
one of the like the big things is that he can catch passes out of the backfield,
Yes,
and that's huge.
I was just thinking of that because I saw
Mhm.
like clips of him catching passes from Brock, and I'm like, that's the
Yeah.
real key right there.
Right.
Tapping into those wide receiver skills that he has, learning those routes, getting out there, working on his timing with Brock.
yeah,
That's going to be huge.
yeah. He reminded me a lot of. Okay, I'm gonna date myself again. Some of the catches he made reminded me of that cartoon I used to watch, Inspector Gadget. You know,
Ah.
just stretches. You know, he stretches his arm out, and you're like, "Damn, is your arm really that long?" You know, to get the ball, and he did. You know, he made some remarkable plays, and it's like, oh my god, dude! I could just picture him going, and the arm coming out further and further. But having him back there, wow, that was a game
There
changer.
you go.
That was a game changer.
Go Gadget arms.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jordan Mason really couldn't quite do that. So it's definitely important in this system to for the running backs to run really well and also catch passes out of the backfield. Maddie, what are your thoughts?
Hopefully they give him the ball. Hopefully it gets used. Hopefully they don't
That-
run
yeah,
CMC into the ground.
That's a key element. Thank you, Matt.
This
Yes.
to me, like we're having a fantastic conversation about how great Isaac Arendo has looked, okay, during this OTA and during this time frame. And at the end of the day, I just keep saying to myself, remember Jordan Mason? You remember a guy named Jordan Mason? Do you remember a guy named Elijah Mitchell, right? Like Elijah Mitchell couldn't stay healthy, but like even when he was healthy, they really weren't like secondarying him the ball once CMC got here. That was
Let's
it.
use
You know what I mean?
JP Mason as the key example.
And JP Mason is really the one that shows it because JP Mason was averaging 5 yards a carry, right? Straight up. Like just no doubt about it. 5.3 yards a carry. And they were like, oh, okay, CMC's back from like a really ridiculous injury. So we're just going to use him. Guys, his usage rates for the weeks that he was there were basically the same percentages that he was doing before his injury from the previous year. And then like before his PCL, right? Like the same snapshot. So if they plan to run the offense the same way again, like Isaac Arendo can look fantastic, but unless they're going to like do something gadgety for him, which I don't see them running a wildcat scenario. That's not, they're not taking Brock Purdy off the field. That's none of that's happening. So unless something happens to Christian McCaffrey, like maybe he's going to be a really good kick returner, right? Like I could see that. I could see him being a killer kick returner, like as soon as he breaks it out.
Drafted one. Yeah.
So, but we drafted one.
Yeah.
And, you know, Watkins has been tremendous, you know, by all accounts. So there's another kid you got to keep an eye out on, right?
Yeah.
Like he could slide in and take a spot away from somebody. No wonder Cowing's working so hard. You know what I mean? Like, and
there's opportunities there. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him for crushing it. And look, there's nothing guaranteed.
No Robinson.
Yeah. And as we all know, with this team, whoever plays best, it doesn't matter if you're a 7th rounder or a 1st rounder.
Oh yeah.
Like whoever it is.
Kyle doesn't care.
No.
Doesn't matter. If Cowing plays better than Pearsall and Pearsall doesn't, you know, start figuring it, that dude better be calling up Tom Brady tomorrow. Be like, yo, my hamstrings are shot.
Some pliability.
What do I do? Because I can't, every time I turn around, I've got a pulled hamstring. And this was a situation for him back at Florida too. So what are we doing? Right? Something's got to change there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maddie, to your point as to, you know, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. As Kyle Shanahan would say, it doesn't matter when you go, it's what you do. Ty, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say Matt hit the nail on the head though with the usage thing. And I remember we talked about it last season. Dina, you weren't here, but us three talked about it. It, you know, when he came back, Jordan Mason and Isaac Arendo disappeared.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, where the F are they? What is going on?
Yeah.
And Kyle would do like split carries, work CMC in slowly, get some. Nope, didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. It
Yeah.
wasn't until he went down again that, oh, and look, Jordan Mason, he is alive. Isaac Garendo, he is alive. Well, I'll be. It was sad stuff, but I'm hoping that a light bulb has gone off and it's like, okay, we got to spell this dude. We got to spell him. We got to be smarter. And when he doesn't want to come off the field, you put your coach's foot down and say, no, you get off the field. Rest for 3, 4, 5 plays, whatever.
And then, yeah.
Then you get back out there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully last year was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because it's a long season. You know, seeing
Very long, about to get longer.
Everyone talks about CMC's age. He's 29. You know, I mean, to me, age is just a number.
Yeah.
You know, but
when you're the best at what you do, age is a number.
That's right.
But for him, like we all remember that video Olivia posted of him walking around his house with no shirt on, and it looked like he had been attacked. All the bruises and the cuts and everything, and it's like, geez,
yeah,
how's he going out there every week? Like,
yeah,
you gotta do something to spell him.
yeah.
He does not need to play 88 to 93% of the snaps, which is his typical average.
No.
That's not an and this is not an that's not an exaggeration to the folks out there watching. Like, I'm not just being like snarky about it. Like, that's legitimately 88 to 93% of the snaps. That's insane. When you have that amount of running back depth.
Plus, too, it makes us very predictable, which is one thing I didn't like. You know?
Yeah. Right. And like, he should have some versatility. He can do anything. You can line him up as a slot receiver if you want
to.
That's
what I'm saying.
So that's why it's never made any sense to me why you wouldn't put him on the field at the same time with a Jordan Mason or whatever.
Right.
But that was the thing that kind of tipped me off about Jordan Mason last year. As soon as CMC came back, like, Jordan Mason went back into the closet like a side piece, right? Like, whoop, bye.
You
know, primary's home. Wait for her to leave, and then you can jump out the bedroom window, right? Like, literally, like that. Get out, and then like all of a sudden, we're just gonna rip off $5.3 million for him this year. Like, no, thank you. Like, you knew that he was gonna get traded somewhere, and Minnesota needs a back. You know, Aaron Jones has hamstrings that were made from similar materials Ricky Pearsall's. So, that all made sense, and that all makes sense in the thing. But yeah, if you're going to get a guy like Isaac Garendo, like, if you're going to get a horse, you have got to ride the horse. You can't just let the thing walk around in the field all the time. You got to get a race horse. You got to let the damn thing race.
There you go.
Exactly.
Side note, real quick. Matt clearly has some relationship stories that we might want to hear sometime in the future.
So many people, so many things, so many.
Jump out the window.
You know, we have a whole month until training camp. So.
I have.
Bring your stories, guys.
Yeah. Well, at some point.
Do tell.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right. So, should we be on the lookout for Kicker Watch?
Oh my gosh.
I knew this would get you, Ty.
Oh my gosh. It's just the fanfare that went on the past 2 days. Now that a kicker has been seen kicking the ball.
Yesterday,
oh my gosh,
Moody missed one kick. Today, Greg Joseph was 100%.
Okay.
Maddie, your thoughts?
I have a hot hunch, and this is based on nothing. Jesus.
Exactly, Rob.
Right.
Tuck and roll.
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
Well, tell us anything.
No, well, go ahead. Jump into the bushes. It'll break
Mm.
go ahead. Sorry.
What were we talking about again? Reset this for me, please. Like,
Kickers.
The kickers.
Yes.
The kickers.
Kickers. Oh man, yeah, Moody and Joseph. We were talking about going out the window. That's kind of how I felt after the Cleveland game. There's no window nearby though. But I think it's going to be up to the special teams coach. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think Kyle's just going to be like, "What do you think? Which one are you comfortable with?" And I would bet a lot that he's going to say that he's more comfortable with Greg Joseph, right? Or
he knows him.
in an yeah. So in they're not going to do the thing. I've seen some hypotheses out there that, oh, well, they'll give Moody first shot, but if he has like a bad first week, they'll sign Greg Joseph again after, because they don't want to guarantee his contract after week 1. What's to say that, like, if Greg Joseph gets cut on the last day of camp, like, that he's going to be available when he's ready, right? Like, I don't think they did not. Yeah, he needs to call John Anthony Pay and get his real estate shit straightened out, is what I'm thinking, Terradome. Because I don't think anyone else they could have gotten, okay, but when they bring it, like, they're literally overhauling the defense and special teams to, like, be modeled after the Jets. Like, it's like they did a salvage operation on the 2023-2024 New York Jets, and they took what they could from that, and they're trying to, utilize that for things here. And it seems way too convenient for me. Like, it reminds me of Matt Barr and Scott Sisson back in the day. You know what I mean? Matt Barr was coming over from whatever, and, like, same special teams coach. You're like, I can already tell it's going to have bye. Like, that's it. Thanks for playing. Like,
Next.
those competitions, like, usually don't end well for the young guy. And Jake Moody will then go somewhere like Arizona or Denver or someplace like that and absolutely figure it out and destroy it, and probably end up being Morton Anderson-esque. Right.
Yep.
But something's going on here that's just not meant to be for whatever reason. And not enough sage was burned, I think, is the main problem.
Dina, your thoughts?
I agree with Maddie. It's not enough sage was burned. Need a bush.
Field.
But yeah, really. But I'm all for giving a guy a chance, but again, the special teams is what really hurt us. And we need to rebuild that. We need to rebuild that trust. We need to rebuild the whole special teams sequence. And we can't have what we had last year. That was pitiful. And if, in fact, that it comes down to a little match there, yeah, I could see Kyle leaving it up to the coach and saying, which one do you think would be more beneficial here? What are we going to do? Are we going to keep Moody on the side in case you don't pan out, or, are we going to switch him up? I don't know. But I'm hoping for a better special teams than we had. And I'm hoping that the special teams coach can work their asses off and nip this nonsense in the bud and get some more sage. Because we need it.
You okay there, Ty?
Rob's killing me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm a visual thinker, and I'm
I don't like when
fell out the window onto the sage
I
bush.
literally pictured
that one didn't get burned.
Landing on the sage bush, and Matt going, "Oh no, she landed on the wrong bush."
How did you know her name was Sage, Rob? That's what I want to know.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So Terradome says virtually anything is an improvement. Our special teams were kind of short bus special. Yes. Go ahead, Ty.
Mm-hmm.
The kickers, this kicking in camp and during the summer when the weather is nice and the skies are blue and the conditions are perfect, doesn't mean squat.
No.
Doesn't mean squat. Because this when everything will go right. I still say you got to get them dudes inside of Levi's. Get them in there in the early evening, at night, when that wind starts cutting through those openings.
Mm-hmm.
And then make them kick. Can you adjust to this wind gust that's coming through? Can you crush one from 40, 45, 50?
Mm-hmm.
From the left hash, from the right hash? Kick it over and over. Let's see how you do now. That's the real gauge. Because we know our stadium is tricky. It's tricky. So like, of course, yeah, they're going to look good, with the sun shining and the Lord looking down on them and everything's great.
And
But
the
man,
birdies go by.
get them in some real
Blessing their
conditions in the
Chick-fil-A.
stadium. Throw some sound on. Bring in a sound guy for a day. Throw on some sound. See if a distraction will help them. Yell at them. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like put them through a
Spray 'em
real
with a fire
kicking
hose.
competition. Yeah, exactly. So throw some water on. Throw a bucket of water on them. Put them through the ropes because that's when it counts. And I've been on this since last season.
100% Ty.
Yeah. Played a foghorn.
I think they should actually just hold, just special teams should just hold practice inside Levi Stadium. Forget about the practice field.
Yeah.
Just hold practice there. But can you imagine Jake Moody kicking in Candlestick Park?
Oh,
thank you.
No.
Thank you. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. With the cutout on the other end and the fog rolling down. Oh man.
In a good day to y'all, right? Yeah, especially in January when it was always wet and like that summer all remind you that they're below sea level there. Yep.
Man. All right, so 2 more topics before we get out of here. But first, we are brought to you by Faithful Gear. Get your customized Niners gear at faithfulgear209.com and tell Robert that we sent you. He does good work over there. So again, it's faithfulgear209.com. All right, so LaShawn McCoy was on TV, on a podcast. I think he was on TV.
This is a TV show. Yeah.
He said that Brock Purdy won't prove his worth. And he threw in Tua and Trevor Lawrence and pretty much said that they don't deserve that money.
I mean, if anyone's an expert on that, it would be LaShawn McCoy, right? Like, so let's just start with that.
Zing!
Like, nobody's stolen more money than LaShawn McCoy over the years. Like, all those Super Bowls he brought to all those cities, right? Like, just like a hero that he is, like coming to town, doing the things. So it takes one to know one, I guess, in that scenario. Like, whatever.
Consider the source.
That is a podcaster trying to get their TikTok page views up. You know what I mean? Or their YouTube views up. That's all that is. Like, it's like Cam Newton's pod. It's like what did you win?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what did you do when the moment was the hottest, right? What did you do? Where did you go? Did you show up or were you on Odell Beckham Jr.'s boat or some other ridiculous scenario that someone could have possibly been on, right? Like,
yeah.
Where were you? Did you have that championship mentality or not? And fans know that and appreciate that.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. I thought it was like you said, like a ratings grabber. I didn't get it. And I tend to ignore things that he says. Because sometimes it's not warranted. It's like, shut up already. How can you make that determination and that comparison? I don't understand, coming from him anyway.
49ers insider, clearly, Like, that's another thing too. He's really embedded in the culture here.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I'm like, really? So I tend to ignore him at times because I know sometimes, I hate to say it, but it sounds like he's talking from another end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be nice, but I tend to ignore it because I thought it was
the wrong end of the phone, right, Dina? Like,
I thought it was
he's trying to talk through the part of the phone you're supposed to listen through, as opposed to the actual mouthpiece. Like
I thought it was a stupid ass.
I understand what you were trying to say there, Dina. I got
you. Yeah,
I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ty, what do you think?
There's 2 things at play. One, he didn't have this same energy when Jalen Hurts got his contract.
Hello.
So let's talk about that. He wants to name Tua and all these other guys. When your boy got paid, you didn't have this same energy. Now that he won a Super Bowl, you're all rah, rah, rah on everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different story. This isn't the first time he's talked about Brock.
No.
And he's talked about him not being all that previously. And now with the contract, he's just doubling down on it. But I think this really stems from that 2022 NFC Championship game when Debo said what he said, that if Brock didn't get hurt, we would have smashed them. Now, he's been on this kick that no, Brock ain't all that. It would have been the same. The following season, we go into Philly. Brock does not get hurt in the game, and we destroy them.
Wreck their year.
Killed their year entirely. Ever since then, he's been on some real Brock ain't it kick.
42-19. I ain't gonna never forget that.
You think that stung him a little bit? You think he realized, man, we're lucky he got hurt in that NFC Championship game. So I think that's where all this comes from. He's still burnt at the fact that after talking all his junk, we went in there and stomped him, and he's like, he ain't all that. He's just an average quarterback. He ain't do nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 42-19 says different.
Hello.
It's really 42-12. That that last second garbage TD with
right.
nothing.
That was just
a
given.
But hey, you go ahead, have your 19.
All right. Last topic. Who are the coaches that need to have an impact? I mean, Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh are the obvious choices. In my opinion, I'd like to see Chris Kocurek and Mick Lombardi, who is now the quarterback's coach.
Yeah.
I think we need to have good seasons from them. In order to get this thing back on track. I know Chris Kocurek, is good at what he does. I mean, Mick Lombardi, bit of an unknown as the quarterback's coach, but we shall see. What do you guys think?
Dina, go
I
ahead.
second both of your coaches, and I would also say in that scenario too, with Mick Lombardi, like I have trust that they're going to get the right quarterback coach because we all had the same questions about Brian Griese, right? Like, what the hell, Brian Griese? What? And he crushed it, right? He did a great job. I'm sad to see him go. Like, and it looks like they really held on to him for as long as they possibly could because he really wasn't trying to be a full-time coach, was trying to head out. So I think that's awesome. So I'm gonna trust they're gonna get this one right, and this is a guy who's in, and this isn't just a nepo hire because he's related to Mike.
Dina?
Just finding a very cohesive unit with everybody. Everybody on the same page, everybody working together, and just being a cohesive unit. No distractions or fractions, and listening to one another. I think that's a big key. Listening to one another and striving for that ultimate goal. But quarterback, special teams, offense. I want to see everybody gel together. I want to see everybody gel together and get it done. That's my take on it.
Ty?
Yeah, for me, it's Brent Boyer, special teams. We all saw how bad the kick coverage was for the past few seasons, really. it's got to improve. I mean, nowhere to go but up, but it's got to improve because it just helps the defense, which in turn helps the offense. You know, you keep teams on a short field, it just pays dividends. So I'm looking for him to just do his thing on special teams. He's in charge of that unit, take over it. Another coach that I believe has his work cut out for him is Ray Brown, the defensive backs coach. Because with all the injuries we have going on at safety, it's a concern. It's a question mark. Like, what are we going to be doing? Who's out there? And then, you know, the depth behind Demo and Renardo Green right now is kind of like, we really got to hope for no uniform malfunctions with those two.
No, yeah.
Because it's looking real slim behind them.
Yeah.
So I believe he has his work cut out for him, and just getting that unit stable and getting guys up to speed, and you know, hoping it works out.
Yeah.
So those are two guys I'm focused on.
Rob D, Mick Lombardi does have experience. I believe he was with the Patriots before the Niners as the wide receivers coach.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to that hurry up offense in the 2-minute warning.
Oh, shoot. I should have been ready. Sorry. You kind of gave a last topic notice too, and I blanked out.
She got us both tonight. I got us both.
I know. So you got to be on your toes with Jess, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go.
All right, shout out to the chat. You guys were awesome as usual. Again, happy birthday to Joe Cool.
Yeah.
You know, during this month long time of no football, we are going to try to bring the best content to you each and every week until training camp starts. So tune in on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, go Niners. And Maddie, you're up.
Don't forget to get your season tickets. Get your season tickets now.
That dude.
The rush. Understand that part of your trip is already planned, and get your food all included as well, because you need that. That's all I've got for that. And just don't, when you see the noise, ask yourself, where is this noise coming from? And really think about where the noise is coming from before you react to it. That's my advice for you, fans.
You stole my joint.
Sorry, unbelievable.
It's okay.
Unbelievable. Again, we do not have a script to go over this. That's hilarious.
I'll take it as a handoff. Yes. Remember.
There you go. There's that baton.
This is the void. We're going to call it the void. And this is where people need to make up stuff to make sure they're still getting their clicks and views to keep you engaged. So don't be surprised if you hear George Kittle wasn't on the practice field at OTAs because he's upset. That's why you only saw him on the side. Fred Warner wasn't out there because he's kind of upset with the lack of help around him. That's why he wasn't on the field and just on the side.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that type of crap, because it's going to happen. So just take a deep breath and stay faithful.
Tina?
That's right. Stay faithful and don't listen to all the mouths that are talking. Wait till the season starts.
All right. And we are out of here. We'll see you next week. Go Niners.
Peace.
Go Niners.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana